Good morning and happy Friday, boomers. The voice of the blockchain here, Satoshi's biggest cousin, cryptography's finest, Champagne Crypto. Thanks for tuning in. Today we got Ether in the spotlight, continuing in the spotlight all week long. It looks like it's stealing all the shine from the rest of the alts. Ether in the spotlight, and Bitcoin still holding its support, dipping under 10, but continuing to fight and going back over 10 once again. And we'll be talking about what the short term and the long term is looking like for Bitcoin as well as Ether and the rest of the altcoins. These DeFi dApps continue to attract more users to the Ether blockchain, in my opinion. We'll be talking about that as well as the rest of the boomers tune in. Make sure you're touching all the buttons, the like, the subscribe, the post notification bell, the ding ding. Stay tuned in to the good crypto word that we spread here every single day. Happy Friday to the maniacs out there. TGIF to those that are still waging, those wages out there. Everybody's got to go through it at some point, and hopefully you can unlock the matrix and stay independent for as long, or become independent, because becoming independent is also important. Staying independent is also part of the matrix code, because you could become independent, but can you stay indie? DIY all day. Shout out to my boomers. Make sure you're caressing, liking the buttons. Let's check out today's mathematics. Let me turn off these coins, share my display. Bitcoin charts there looking good at 10-1. Better than some may have expected. I mean, I told you guys when we were broadcasting yesterday, the price was about the same, 10-1, 10-2, and I said, things could dip, dive, and slide in the next 24 hours. They did, but now they bounced back. Let's check out CoinMarketCap here. Hit refresh. Make sure we're up to date with the latest pump information over here. Market cap at 269. This doesn't really grow. I don't see any new capital, although we've seen interest rates slashed, and we are hoping for an influx of cash. I don't see this market cap really growing at this point. Hopefully that hits 300 billion sooner than later. Bitcoin dominance has decreased 67.7. I think some of the capital's moved into Ether and some of the other altcoins. We've seen Stellar booming along with some others this week. A little resurrection of the altcoins. Is it altcoin season? Not yet. I think it was just they were due for some sort of a growth after losing like 90%. Bitcoin there at 10,182. Ether at 217. Ether. We're going to be talking about that because Ether stealing the spotlight this week. Shout out to Marlon Jones. ETH boom. I see you. Kaboom there, Marlon. And we got AKPOS. Bitcoin is $20 before the halvening. So you're saying 20K before the halvening. I don't think there ever be a $20 Bitcoin, even if there's a worst case. Even if there's a soy EMP out there, I don't think Bitcoin will ever dip below that low. But I assume you're saying 20K. We will continue to see same money in the market as newbies won't come in until we surpass all-time highs. Absolutely. I agree with that. Until we see new numbers that we've never seen before, won't expect any noobs, I won't expect the retail FOMO to kick in until we see 20K, 21, 25, and so on. AKPOS says Bitcoin will be 20,000 before the halvening. Hopefully, I don't know. I think that it could see that number close to in and around the halvening. Usually there's price action after the halvening. So maybe that'll happen in, May or June. But maybe that price will come sooner than later. April, March, it's all possible. These things move quickly. And as soon as there's a spike in price, I remember just a few months ago when we hit 13.8, everybody was so excited saying, champ, it's about to hit 20K in a week and a day. So the fever could grow quickly. The fire can spread fast. And let's see what happens. Maybe you're right there, AKPOS. Marlon Jones says at 30K Bitcoin, then they will come with their Lambo dreams. Yeah, somewhere after 20,000, 25, 30, and then, the Lambo dreams will come back. We'll get some of those trolls back in the population of the chat box. And I'll stay booming receiving these ads from the Brave browser all the time. Boom, boom, boom. It's hard for me to move browsers now because I keep getting these ads, although there's other browsers that allow you to earn Bitcoin. So I'm going to look into those as well. But getting back to the matter at hand, you got Ether there at 217. We'll dive a little deeper into Ether today. We got Bitcoin Cash there at 317. Litecoin at 75. You got EOS at 390. Listen, don't sleep on EOS. I know it's a little more centralized. There's plenty of Chinese block producers, which is a turnoff for the champ. But you're going to see some of this DeFi-ness sprouting on EOS, and I already covered that earlier this week. So don't sleep. And, first of all, it's going to proliferate there on Ether, a lot of DeFi apps and dApps. But don't sleep on EOS. I think that's going to follow in the wake of these DeFi dApps on Ether. You got Binance there at $21. Satoshi Vision. Who keeps pumping this? I want nothing to do with it. Stellar there at 7 cents, down 9% after a major pump this week. I still haven't gotten confirmation as to why Stellar pumped so hard this week. Cardano at 5 cents. Monero at $75. I was thinking about it the other day. Monero is about the same price as Litecoin, yet the circulating supply is significantly lower. And, its fundamentals are truer to crypto than Litecoin, if you ask a boomer. Now, that's, arguable, but, Monero's still looking sexy. I don't expect Monero to make these, 10, 20x strides, but it's looking like a store of value. Although, some of these privacy coins are under attack or whatnot, I still think it's a good one. If you ask a boomer like myself. Again, I'm not anybody's crypto daddy. I got to say that all the time, throw the disclosure out there, because you know how it is out there, boomers. Onslaught of retail FOMO at 100K. I think we'll see a way more retail FOMO before 100K. I think once it cracks 30 and maybe getting closer to 40 and 50, perhaps that retail FOMO will kick in. Bring the Bitcoin charts out here. Have you checked out Hedera hash graph or Hedera hash graph? Total trash nodes are big corporations. No, I've never even checked that out. Then Champ will have 100K subs. Hopefully, let's see if the channel will grow along with Bitcoin's growth. But listen, at the end of the day, I like the boomers here in the population. Sometimes when things get too big, you get too many trolls. People try to sideline the conversation. Too many newbies, and every once in a while you got to weed out the garden. But yeah, I receive it. If the channel grows, let's do it. Dame is here. He says, "Yo, Champ, I see you, Dame." Marlon says, we'll be avoiding H-bar like the plague. Never heard of that one. I never heard of that. If it's trash, there's no need to pay attention to it then. You got Bitcoin there at 10,143. Let's talk about Ether gas usage, because Ether's in the spotlight. If there's any altcoin out there that's looking all right, it's ETH. Now, I still don't expect ETH to make gains like Bitcoin will or could from here to May. But maybe I'm wrong. There's plenty of altcoins out there, 2,000 plus, but Ether is looking a lot more solid. I got more confident in Ether than I have in the majority of these alts. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be alts that 20x, that 30x in this next run, but they're not going to be as many as there was during the 2017 run, if you ask myself. So, something to consider. Ether gas usage hits new all-time high as decentralized game takes up 30% of network. Here's the problem, too. You got a decentralized game taking 30% of the network right now. So, we know that the utilization capacity with ETH hasn't been figured out. And until they figure that out, I wouldn't expect major strides in ETH. But I do expect them to figure it out within the next couple of years. I could be wrong. Ether, the network, has been facing unprecedented demand in the last few days, so much that the daily gas usage has now hit a new all-time high of over 50 million gas units. And you can see, according to EtherScan, it's above what it was seen in 2017. So the gas is basically the fees paid for the transaction. They're paid in Ether, and you can see that they're up. An interesting stat here. Ether transaction fees remain relatively low, below 10 cents, partly because the crypto is currently trading at around 217. If Ether was trading closer to all-time highs, transaction fees would be fairly high, very high, almost too high, I would say. But, this is something to consider. There's a game going on out there. Apparently, it's a funny bunny one. Trust Nodes reports that this game is Ponzi-like and maybe gaining traction in Asia. So there's some dApp called Fairwind, that's the name, is taking about 1/3 of the Ether's network capacity right now. So, that's what it is. CryptoZilla says, I was trying to help a client today that had a bunch of coins he bought during the boom. Found he had Zebi and P-Chain mainnet launches. Zebi want KYC to change ERC20 to mainnet. Funny bunny. I never even heard of those coins. P-Chain, Zebi. I never heard of that. Gas limit is high now, more than $2 in ETH. To lock ETH in a smart contract, token transfers are still low. Summit Adaz says, keep the fee low for more mass adoption. I'm not sure how the fees are worked out, but I would assume as more people trying to process transactions, those fees go up, so that you could get your transaction processed faster. I will trade if I see a pump in the charts, but all I see now is a dump. Heat Era has a lot of hype as big corps like Boeing, IBM, and behind this private chain just launched its mainnet. Yeah, never heard of that one. But as far as like the pump in the charts, some of the altcoins, like the top 10s, may be seeing some action in the next week. And they certainly have this past week. Lights, even EOS saw some action. I think, buying the alts for the short term may not be a bad strategy. I'm going to share an article. Actually, let me go ahead and share it with you right now. I was looking at this article posted over here on TradingView. By Crypto Gats. Everything's linked down below, by the way, like always. But it's titled "Bitcoin: Are You Understanding and Making Money?" You could see you could read his charts or whatnot, his technicals and where his in and out points are. 200 moving day average. I'm not going to get into all that, but the summary here caught my attention. So what is likely to happen with Bitcoin, says the article, which controls everything? You always have to look back at previous behavior to get an idea of how things may play out in the future. On this time frame, the 12-hour, we're starting to go under and stay under the 200-day moving average for a while now. When that happens, we are likely to force a death cross on the 1-day time frame, which is when price goes down even more aggressively. Once the death cross happens, Bitcoin price will go under for a while. Take a look at what Bitcoin behaves like once it starts crossing the 200 moving day average, and he shows a chart. As of right now, Bitcoin is more than likely trying to get back to the 200 moving day average on the 1-day time frame in order to start going back up. We need to find a key psychological buy point, which are marked with the X's on his charts. And he says the trend is going down still for Bitcoin. I don't think it's going to be drastic, but I can see that for the very short term, it may go down again under 10K. But his outlook, it's unsafe for the short term to buy Bitcoin, but safe to buy the top 10 market alts. Again, this is just for the short term. He's still long on the bits, but it's something to consider. Basically, what we were talking about right now. Must raise gas limit in the short term to keep unnecessary transactions off ETH blockchain in order to keep from clogging it up. Right, that actually prevents spam on the blockchain. If it costs to send a transaction, then you're not gonna send out a bot to do things that are not going to give you an ROI and clog up the network. A bunch of hyped ERC20 token launches from 2017. He had a bunch of dead ones too, says CryptoZilla about his buddy. But even the mainnet launches are used to weed out early buyers, low cap token BS that boomers need to watch for. Yeah. And I think most of the boomers here in the population of the chat box right now, they're soldiers. They got their 5-star decorated officials, and they know, most of those low cap coins. And I said this before, and I think Marlon said the same thing. You hodl the bits and use the alt. So even with something like ETH, it's like I'm still thinking about using it rather than hodling. Now is the time to be buying ETH, not ERC20, except your DeFi tokens like Make or Link may be another option as the Oracle solution is taking off, says Marlon. He agrees with Zilla. Summit does his out the death cross. So yeah, check out that article. But his outlook, he says that it's for the short term, for I guess the next week or so, is probably the money will probably be in the top 10 altcoins as opposed to Bitcoin, maybe in the next 5 days. Now the mid to long term outlook is still strong. It's still bullish with the bits. I just think that it needs to battle it out here with the support for a while. It's trying to find its go back to the 200-day moving average according to this article. Let's go back to it. Where is it? There it is. And you can see that trend line. I don't think it's going to go down all the way down. So it's been trying to fight that way, but it keeps getting bought out. Every time it dips under 10, it hits 96. There's some major support at 94, 96. Okay, for a second there we saw like 92, but it's not dipping under 9. That's for sure. It's like everybody's been talking about 80, 85, 88. Even I've said 88 in the past, but I mean, how many times have we tested this range and it still goes back up? So let's see. What do you think will happen first? Bitcoin at 100K or ETH at 5K? It's I don't know. I mean, what would happen? I would say what would happen first, like ETH at 2.5 or Bitcoin at 50. I'm trying to see a 50K Bitcoin first. I'm trying to see things crack all-time highs first. So I'm still betting on Bitcoin. I'm not buying Bitcoin every time it drops below 10K. Yeah, I would still bet on Bitcoin. For ETH to hit 5K, I mean, it's gotta do a lot. It's all-time high. It's only 1,400. Niagara Gardner agrees with Marlon. He bought the last dip. Listen, we've had an opportunity all week with Bitcoin trading sideways. It goes under 10 for a moment, and then it stays right there at 10, 10.1. So whether you get it at 97, 98, 99, 10.1, when this thing goes back to all-time highs and beyond, which is what we're speculating on here, that few $100s is not going to matter at all. Remember, Ethereum had crypto kittens. Then they suggested using B-Trash for scaling. What a joke! I'm cool on ETH. Yeah, I know. There's a major scaling problem with ETH. Okay, and they haven't solved it. They've promised Casper, Plasma, sharding, and a lot of things, but they haven't solved it. And Dan Larimer said, and I've said this quote before, it's, that scaling Ethereum right now is like changing an engine on a moving car. It's next to impossible. So, it's something to consider. I think it's not impossible. I think eventually they're going to solve this scaling thing. And right now, we're betting not only on that, but on the first mover advantage and the confidence and the talent that's behind the development of the blockchain. But yeah, you're right, Thai City. And that's why, when Marlon asked me these questions, what do you think will happen first, the boom with Bitcoin or Ether? I mean, the hodl here is always Bitcoin. You can use these altcoins and, that's definitely the strategy that we've concluded with here. Is you use the altcoins. Hodling an altcoin. I mean, I was considering getting the 32 ETH and hodling it, but now as I think about it more and more, it's probably worth to hold on to that ETH as soon as they switch over to POS and then dump it and get more bits. I may be wrong, but I'm thinking twice. I'm definitely thinking about it. There are still people out there hold on to low cap tokens, believe they will rebound and they can just hodl. But it's a dangerous game because the token could be swapped out and poof goes any value. Right. Thai City says Backed is going to lock up Bitcoin supply, making it easier to manipulate. Okay, so what? I mean, Ty, I gotta say, I've never heard anything positive from you. I mean, are you a Bitcoin? Are you believing in the bits or I mean, I don't know what the vibe is. Because, where's a positive statement? It's every time I see Ty, it's like, oh, but the manipulation, but this, but where's the positivity? Maybe you are positive, so I'm asking you, maybe I'm wrong here, but that's the vibe I'm catching. I don't know. Champ, ETH has announced release dates for ETH 2.0 upgrade. Now we have to see if they meet the dates. Yeah, I mean, but they've announced that several times, so I'm not sure, I hope they're not playing the Cardano with us. That being said, that's why I'm not throwing all the bags on ETH, because of the funny bunny. Right now, the like I said, the move is the bits. Champ, we said that. Boom, let's get this crypto, says Batman. Indeed, let's get it. Shout out to Batman, Marlon, Ty, CryptoZilla, and the rest of the pumpers out in the population of the chat box. We have 15 crypto maniacs watching live. Make sure you caress all the buttons. I got the articles linked down below that we've been discussing today so you guys can read further. Dump ETH at POS release. I hope most people don't stake them, as that will allow me to get some insane staking rewards. Yeah, I mean, that's a possibility as well, you know. But you got to figure out what's the staking reward going to be. And I think we talked about this before. I think it's 4% is what the number is that's been floating out there. So if you got 32, you could expect to earn about 1.2 ETH per year if they stake at 4%. That's good. And we said this yesterday, you can't stake Bitcoin and earn more Bitcoin, but you could stake other coins and earn more coins and then convert them to bits. So, it's something to consider. But again, it seems like all of these alts, they peak out at a certain event and then they dump again. And then Bitcoin just keeps steady trucking. Although there's a lot of non-believers out there, it just keeps steady trucking. But I agree, not all the bag. If you have a fortune enough to have 32 ETH, stake them. Marlon Jones says 4%, but if fewer people stake, then that rate will increase dramatically. But how much, though? Like, will it increase double? I mean, will it increase triple or just, maybe to 5% or 6%? We don't know. And how long will that be? You're going to lock your tokens up for 2 years. I don't know. Again, you may be right. And if you have the coins to spare, maybe it's worth the gamble. But, I would expect ETH to dump if they move to POS. Like, it'll peak out at one point and then it'll dump again. But I don't know. Let's see. I heard it could theoretically go to 15%. Yeah, but theoretically. I doubt it. If it goes to 15%, I think that's too much. I think that'll actually be like not hyperinflation. It'll be too inflated. What do you think about the Ganji DApp? Says some. I don't know. I've seen somebody with that name, but I'm not. I don't know about that. You got Ether gas hitting new all-time highs. And this is the last article I haven't shared. Going back to Ether. Consensus announces a codified project to boost DeFi adoption. So here's more DeFi adoption. I told you guys, don't sleep on this. And here it is. Joseph Lubin is going all in on decentralized finance apps. Ether's a shared execution space, and we should also be building things that synergize, Lubin said. So Consensus is out of Brooklyn, and they're an outfit that develops dApps. And now they're focusing on these decentralized finance applications. Let's see the quote that I was actually looking for here. There's a series of smart contracts and workflows and capabilities that everyone needs. It doesn't make sense for every organization on team working in DeFi or institutional assets to rewrite the same code. It makes much more sense for a large, well-resourced software organization to write a set of modules that will work together. So that's what they're working on with the DeFi dApps. And Consensus has worked on other dApps as well. The strategy here is to accelerate the growth of the DeFi system. And the DeFi, the DeFi here, I'm not sure if this is covered in this article specifically, but, another plus of the DeFi is that it allows for banking, for loans for people that may not have access to loans in other parts of the world, This allows someone to get a loan without a middleman. If they have collateral, they could go ahead and get a loan. You don't have to go to the bank and you don't have to sign up anything. If you have collateral, you can go ahead. So it's basically like an online pawn shop, really. ETH has the most decentralization, GPU mining, says Mega How 2 Man. I don't know if it's the most decentralized, but it's certainly more decentralized than it's a competitor like EOS. I think that the staking reward will start out high, as most people will dump ETH at POS, but when they see the high reward at 10%, they will push price up, as they will want to get onto the staking, driving rate lower. But early stakers will make the most, as they should. We'll see. We'll see how it pans out. But I do expect Ethereum to continue to grow and have a little run as soon as they can figure out what this POS upgrade is going to look like. I'll take a few more comments and questions before I go ahead and land the plane. Go ahead and check out the articles that I have linked down below. Make sure you download the Brave browser if you haven't already. You could start earning those BAT tokens. And BAT is booming today as well, right? I think I saw some green on BAT. Let me go ahead and... Yeah, it's up 5% against the bids. There's the charts. You can see a nice little spike this morning. So there it is, basic attention tokens booming. You can earn BAT tokens on the Brave browser. Download the link to downloads down below. It's just like the Chrome browser. You could also check out the recommended crypto videos and the links to the exchanges, as well as the water filters. I got to put the plugs in there. Why not, guys? I got to put the plugs. Why not? The only staking I'm doing is grass-fed beef. There you go. Shout out to Batman. Ty City says, I'm a boomer. I just don't trust institutional markets. Bitcoin is better separate from the goofy. There we go with the train. Press the wrong button. I'm a boomer. I just don't trust institutional markets. BTC is better separate from the goofy traditional trading operations. I think they're actually holding BTC back. Yeah, listen, these institutions are always going to try to creep their way into it. You're never going to be completely sterilized, from bad actors. This is the way the world works. There's always going to be someone in there trying to run the game. That's the way the world works. Nothing's perfect. But right now, I think that Bitcoin's more honest than a lot of the fiat. That's the bottom line here. It's a step forward. It's a step more honest. It's a little bit more, or a lot more, verifiable than fiat is. Marlon says, I agree, but the greedy cucks want a piece of the pie, as they always will. I mean, you'll never eliminate the greediness. And, that's what they try to sell you with, communism, like that capitalism is the problem. And here's the solution, and everything's going to be okay. Everybody's going to be equal. And if you believe in that, I mean, you'll end up getting hustled. Look at all these countries, that went down the socialist commie route. They wanted to because they had a good intent. They said, capitalism and greedy people are the problem. So, maybe we can, set up a system where everybody's equal. But then again, who's setting up the system? Greedy people. So, I mean, you're always going to have that. But the bottom line here is that I see Bitcoin as more verifiable than the fiat system, so it's a step in the right direction. But to say that, there is no funny bunny, there's funny bunny everywhere. There's funny bunny everywhere. There's just more funny in some places than in others. On that note, let's snipe out a bunny. Shout out to Ty, Batman, Marlon, and the rest of the boomers out there, guys. If there's no other comments and questions, I'm going to go ahead and enjoy my weekend, as you should. I'll be back at the gym tomorrow. I switched up the schedule, so I got one day on the weekends now that I pump hard. And I'm focusing now on back, deadlift, and squat as I recover the shoulder and see what the doc says. I'm getting my results soon. And see what's going on with the shoulder out there. So I'm avoiding chest and shoulder exercises until the doc clears me. Fed bailing out the overnight leaning markets. The fourth quarter has begun. The Fed will, the Fed with the funny bunny. I'm not, they're debasing the currency, and they'll continue to do that. Everyone is cheerleading for an ETF, waiting for validation from some people that wreck financial markets for a living. I'm not. I've said that. We don't need the ETF or, the financial institutions. Bitcoin's done well without the financial institutions. It went over 10K without these outfits, so we don't need them. But they're going to get into the game sooner than later, and this is just the way it is. Marlon says that 5K ETH price, you will earn $6,400 a year for each node you stake. We don't need no ETF, no Fed. But that's still a long ways to go to get a 5K ETH, But maybe it's possible. I've been nursing a shoulder injury since June. A lot of warm-ups and external internal, external rotations. Yeah, it's feeling a lot better, and perhaps I could exercise, but I'm going to lay off completely. I've been going hard anyway, so it's a good time to rest the upper body and wait for what the doc says and see, you know, what we're going to do. I told you guys I went for the MRI and everything. The MRI, they throw you in like basically a casket. It's louder than loud, and I can see how some people could panic in that thing. They ask you a bunch of times, they say, "Champ, are you claustrophobic?" And I'm not claustrophobic, so I did all good, but I could see how it could be a problem for certain people. Anyhow, guys, enjoy your weekend, guys. Enjoy your weekend. Make sure you're putting weight on the bar. If you have an injury, you know, focus on another part of your body, but, you know, make sure you show up. More legs, back, and cardio. You know it. You know the deal. I'm going to keep going, and I'm going hard. I'm, you know, going hard with legs for sure. Batman's here, Marlon's here, and the rest of the boomers here. Much love, boomers. Marlon says, "Champ, Da Vinci J5 is doing a meetup today in Miami. Are you going?" No, I'm not. I'm not anywhere close to Miami right now. I'll tell you that much. And even if I was, you know, I'm not really one to be going to those events. But if you are, make sure you drop a little information and document it. Throw it up on YouTube. Shout out to Batman, Marlon, and the rest of the boomers out there. I'm going to go ahead and tune down the broadcast. Always a pleasure. Make sure you caress the buttons. I'll be back on Monday with the good crypto word. Stay strong out there. It's the voice of the blockchain here, Satoshi's big cousin, cryptography's finest. Champion Crypto. Thanks for tuning in.